Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of A Taste of RPGs from the Ann Arbor District Library in Michigan. Each episode, we like to showcase the diversity of modern role-playing games and highlight the wide range of different play styles and genres. This time, we're playing The Skeletons by Jason Morningstar, and we're really excited to give it a try. So The Skeletons is a game that's heavy on narration. It's somewhat similar to For the Queen. There's also a common map making or drawing component. Because we're in a Zoom meeting, we won't be relying on that so heavily, and that's okay because the narration really drives the bulk of this story. So in The Skeletons, the players play skeletons that are guarding a tomb. And it's great because it really flips the narrative on its head. Instead of playing an adventurer, they're playing the monsters that are in the dungeon guarding this tomb. And the bulk of the game is taken up by the players encountering these adventurers or other creatures coming into the tomb and recalling parts of their life before they became skeletons. So I think it's really a delicious game and we can't wait to give it a try. I'm here as always with Audrey and Marissa, and we have a special guest today, Ellie, and I'm Christopher. So we are going to begin the game. Everyone has a character picked out and we'll be revealing information about each of them as the game goes on. But we are beginning with the unsealed tomb. So the skeletons are all in silence and darkness. And when the game begins, we hear, "Arise and protect the tomb, skeletal guardians." And we have someone or something invading this tomb. Ellie, would you like to tell us who's invading the tomb?
I think we're gonna say some grave rats.
Wonderful.
Grave rats vibe. So thinking we hear a little scurrying and we all wake up, and I'm thinking it's probably like five grave rats, and my skeleton is the crawler, so this one kind of feels fit for me to try to take care of because I'm already down here also scurrying. Very spooky, scary. So I have like a little dagger. So I'm probably gonna go after him with my little dagger and most likely not do a good job.
So how are you going to keep the rats from coming back and make sure there aren't more of them?
Well, we are trying to kill them.
Right, but I'm wondering if more could be on the way.
Well, they better not in our tomb. So I'm like crawling around the ground, trying to stab at them. Maybe try and corner them. That's what I'm going for.
That sounds great. Do the rest of you have any ideas?
I am headless, so I'm pretty bumbling around And since I don't want to fall over, so I just kind of kick them or step on them and squish them.
That sounds great.
I am a weird bird monster creature thing, but I feel like I'm a little bit smaller than like a human-sized skeleton. So I'm gonna like scurry to like where the rats came in and like look at the hole and then try and like block it with some other rocks. And then if any of the rats get close to me, I'll stab them with my beak or claws because I have both. So just
Awesome. So while you are animated fighting off the grave rats, you can each remember one thing and answer one question from your character sheet.
So I'm going to answer who or what brought you into the world. And I think that I was like, I feel like I was never quite a living thing. Like I feel like I am assembled of skeleton parts, sort of. So I feel like I happened during like a previous attack gone wrong where like someone's spell went weird and like different skeleton parts like fused together with like monster
Ooh.
parts. So like I was like created in the tomb.
So my question was, in what way is your immortal curse also an awful blessing? And just continuing Evangeline's theme of just being someone who got like, she like basically in my like envisioning of her, she like ended up being consumed by like fame and greed and everything, and like a classic like trying to stay young forever situation. So she's not happy she's cursed to be as a skeleton, but she has the thought of like, well, this is how you live forever, darling, you know, because she bougie.
When you're tidying up, you just sweep any jewels to your side of the tomb.
I am like jealous of Scrimbleshanks. What is your name?
Gimbleshanks.
Gimbleshanks?
Yes, if you've ever seen the excellent masterpiece work of art, Cats, it's the railway cat.
Yes. Gimbleshanks.
You might be familiar.
I'm gonna say one of my questions is who claimed your head and why?
Yeah.
And I believe that there was a witch named Belindorasma Steen. I was a big customer of hers because as I said, I'm very superstitious, bought a lot of amulets, protections, potions. And then when I died, she took my head. She didn't kill me, but she did take my head, make other potions and stuff. And I don't know what she's doing with it. And I don't like that she has it.
Okay.
So you're a customer of hers, is that right?
Yeah. So maybe I had a debt. I don't know. Maybe she was just like free body supplies. This person's dead. And use their head for magic stuff.
Awesome. I'm just thinking by the time we finish this game, this room will have a lot of character, and the three of you have made such rich characters. I almost want to take this room that you're making and these characters and just attach it to a dungeon with some adventurers who come in and burst in. It's like, what are these three nutty looking skeletons doing here? There's an altar over here. Someone's busy tidying up. A bunch of dead rats over here.
One's doing a handstand.
And the camera fades to a bleak nothingness. as the necromancer walks away with his assistant, his or her assistants. Great. Well, that was The Skeletons by Jason Morningstar. So, any thoughts?
It wasn't like anything I've played before. And I like that the like driving action isn't your typical like RPG action. It's just more like remembering who we were in our past and like digging through that more than anything.
Mhm.
So that was cool.
Yeah. I liked this a lot. I think this would be a fun, I mean, it's a good standalone game, but I think, like Christopher said earlier, if then you plug this thing that you create into a game or have this as like a side game, and then your
Mhm.
regular party goes in to fight the skeletons, like the emotional weight of fighting a skeleton that you created, I feel like would be different than just some random skeleton. I like the twist. The mechanics are good. I wish there were more questions, just because you guys both
Yeah.
figured out. And I just like options. But aside from that, I thought it was very cool.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also wish there were more questions, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate that they're not, because they force you to like
Yeah.
Good.
oh, just make a decision about your life. Go. You know.
I also was wondering how it would feel in person if we were playing in person and like actually turned out the lights,
Yeah.
because I feel like that would add
Yeah.
more something to it.
Right.
Yeah, it was really fun. I liked it. And it was interesting how like it was like both pretty like serious, like there was like a weird poignancy to it, but also even though we were being also kind of silly, like there was like a real weight that kind of like gathered as you played. So it was, I thought it was fun. I really liked it. I feel like playing this game and then making your like normal player characters like fight these skeletons would be just hard, like so hard to do.
So sad.
Yeah, so sad.
Just poor Hector. Was it
Yeah,
Hector?
Hector.
Poor Hector.
Hector the
Yeah.
Brave and or coward.
Yeah, I think this makes a really interesting comparison with For the Queen. And even though For the Queen is a fairly serious game, this does seem to have the weight, the heaviness of life and death and the eternal cosmos or something to it. And I do think it's interesting that we both want more questions, but also it does kind of help us to answer the few questions that are given and flesh those out. But maybe a few more questions might be good. Anyway.
Yeah. There's something about these characters being they're effectively ephemeral in a way because they only are awake when they're animated to defend the tomb and they're already dead. So it like there's something about it that really, and because you're like remembering things about your past life, it really forces you to like engage with this like concept of death in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it also felt slightly lonely of like, I
Yeah.
felt like I was creating Hector and Ellie was creating Evangeline and you were creating Skimbleshanks. But because you're only conscious for a short time, there's not that much like inner group dynamics aside from like moving rocks around or something. But
yeah,
it felt very like lonely, like you're still dead and alone.
Yeah. Well, and also like I guess I was playing it that like we can't really communicate with each other because we're skeletons. We don't have like I don't know vocal cords.
Yeah.
So like that's another aspect of like it is just lonely that the only time that we're like doing something together is like when we're just doing our curse, like our duty
Mhm.
to like kill something, then go back to bed. You know.
Yeah.
So the rules do say, and I didn't read this to you, but the rules say that you have this kind of telepathic communication with each other. However, even if I had underlined that for you, I don't know if it would have changed the underlying loneliness. Because I agree, the game does feel a little lonely.
Mhm.
Well, I was
Yeah.
really thinking about it with the kindness question, and like because Marissa's character, because we didn't know that your character's name till the very end, like it forced, like there's a way which your character's like almost unknowable. Well, all the characters, because we're building them
Yeah.
as we go, like the things that define
Right.
your characters happened before any of this stuff, really. Like,
Mhm.
so it was
Yeah.
oddly lonely.
And like we're only realizing this stuff about ourselves as we're playing the game. Like, so like our skeletons are also only realizing this stuff.
Mhm.
So like Hector wouldn't have been able to even introduce themselves,
Mhm.
you know, if we could talk.
Mhm.
Also, I have no head and mouth.
And no head and mouth.
Well, I guess telepathically from my body.
Yeah. From your heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
still,
can still speak with your
okay?
heart.
Yeah.
And half of this rib cage that you found lying in the room somewhere.
Who knows where it came from, Angeline?
I did kind of edit my picture, so my rib cage is missing.
Nice.
Well, that is The Skeletons by Jason Morningstar, and we'll be back next time with another episode. I don't remember who will be hosting, but I think I know what we'll be playing. We'll be playing Fiasco at long last, we promise you.
Finally.
Until then, take care and happy gaming. Arise and protect the tombs, skeletal guardians.